Welcome back, MoJoe Sports. And we just watched Championship Sunday for the NFL, and we will be recapping that today, as well as doing a little Super Bowl instant reaction. You'll get the full preview next week. And we're also going to even start a little college basketball talk today. Something brief, season preview, just getting ready for the start of college basketball, hit on some UFC, but we're diving into everything today. And Joe, I'm assuming you had a better week than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the people to hear about this one. Not a good week for you. I have pretty much no complaints, honestly. I won some bets tonight in the NFL, so
Oh, good for
yeah.
you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah. It's
Oh,
about
wow.
fucking time. It's about fucking time. I'm now, down probably 20 grand on the year, whatever that is, but I chipped away about $200 tonight. So it's you can't eat elephant anyway, but a bite at a time, they say. So I took a bite tonight. That's what they say. I think that's what they say. I don't know.
That's a Sabanism.
Yeah.
That's a
You made
Nick
that one up.
Saban quote. I don't
Okay.
know. Uses it
Good.
frequently.
Good. Yeah, but what about you? You kind of had. Let's let him in. You can see in the background there over his right shoulder. Yeah, for those of you not watching, there's crutches. There's crutches in the background. So what happened? What's going on?
So there's this thing. It's called Don't Text and Drive.
Nah, it's allegedly.
Yeah, I'm talking about the other guy. Yeah. But yeah, might have gotten to a little fender bender on the way home and slammed on the brakes, made contact probably like 5 miles per hour, honestly, by the time I thought I was maybe not gonna even touch the guy, but just kind of love tapped him right in the back of the truck. And immediately I'm like, oh shit, I hit this guy, but I'm also like, shit, that fucking hurt. And what hurt on my body was my foot because I slammed on the brake. But then when you make contact with something else, you got a lot of force going opposite directions. My big toe stayed on the brake pad, rest of the foot did not. And big toe just pointed up to the sky for the rest of the day. So made sure they were okay. And then I drove home, couldn't feel my foot at all, just
No.
driving like 5 miles per hour, people just like honking, passing me up. But then, yeah, I take off my shoe when I get home. And sure enough, my big toe is just pointing to the moon while the rest of the foot looks normal. We go to the emergency room, got to wait a little bit. We get in there, pump me up with a little something, little hydrocodone. And then from there, we run some x-rays, do some tests, and I get a new doc that comes in to finish off. He's a graveyard shift, clearly. And he comes in. He's also the last doctor you want to see because I'm a big guy and he was like way more than me, despite being shorter and having less muscle. So he was just a blob. He came in and basically told me, I looked at the x-rays and looks like everything's fine. I said, Doc, my toe is pointing to the sky right now. It never does this. He also never once grabbed my foot, looked at my foot, or touched my foot. He also never took off my other shoe to see what the baseline looks like. That's pretty important. Feet,
He hit you with it be like that sometimes. Go home. Yeah, you're
yeah.
good.
So he sent me home with some ibuprofen and he said, you're good. There's no fracture, no break, no dislocation. Should go back to normal in a few days. If it's not, go find the foot specialist, what he said. And sure, he gave me a referral. But I walk out of there and I'm defeated at this point, Joe. I'm so defeated because I'm in my heart of heart. I'm just like, I can feel that it is not connected to my foot right now. And I'm leaving this place and I had to pay $500 off rip for this appointment, or not even appointment, but walk in. And then he was like, there's going to be two more bills. This is just the start. Yeah. Went home, basically did not sleep at all because imagine separating your shoulder in a football game and then just nobody pops it in and it's just hanging there and you're just in pain. That's what it felt like. And then I was like, something's very wrong. Posted on Instagram, a lot of people that were not doctors reached out and said, I didn't go to school for this, but that looks wrong, right? Something's off. And that was my note to go to a foot specialist that morning. I walk in, she sees it. She goes, that is for sure dislocated, not even a question. But we're still going to run x-rays just to see where it's at. Anyways, she pumps me full of some numbing stuff. And then I close my eyes. She grabs onto that big toe and she yanks on it, puts it right back into place. But when she did it, it sounded like Velcro. It sounded like just a ton of stuff crunching the whole time. And I could not believe the sound of it. I will never get that. It'll never leave me. It was so gross. And then I look down and it's just perfectly straight back in place. And yeah, couldn't be more thankful. So always go get a second opinion if you feel, a little off about the first guy you meet with.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that felt so good though to get your like when you sent me the picture, I was like, there's no like it looked like you were holding your toe. Like it looked like he was like holding his toe up to where, like you move your toe up and it's like, hey, I don't even think I could move my toe to where your toe was
But you
because
can't.
it's not possible. But it was like he was holding his toe up in a flexion point, and I was like, that's either he's just lying to me and like his toe is actually like he's just faking it, which I didn't think once because it looked
Yeah,
really
I
fucking
hope not.
bad. But I was like, yeah. So that's that
And
that guy that's I mean that's insane that he was just like, yeah, no, you're good.
the only reason that it was even able to go that far is because when we did the x-ray, it was sitting on top of my foot. My big toe had moved offline and was now just sitting on top of the foot, which he somehow missed. I don't even know if he looked at the right x-rays. He
Did he
came
even
in,
look at your foot?
he said, yeah, your hand looks fine. I looked at the x-rays, said, looks like it's all together. But yeah, so we got it figured out. It felt so good when it got back into place. And you
I
can
bet.
imagine just sitting there for the entire night. It was out of place and all the muscles in your foot are just so overstretched for that entire period. So yeah, lawsuit incoming. I'm going to go light that guy's ass up tomorrow.
Take his license.
Yeah.
Kick him off the tour.
So that was my week. And now I got these crutches and I got plenty of time to sit at home and make content.
Yeah, you said you can wear flip-flops to work, so that's a positive. Can you wear both flip-flops or you got to go closed toe and then flip-flop on the other one?
Look, I've been respecting company policy, so I've been going 1 and 1.
You're like
One
a
and one.
kicker. You're
Yeah.
going one kicking shoe, one normal shoe.
Yeah. So it's been good though. Today I was at work. I went to the bathroom. Somebody saw me and they were like, hey, do you need help? I think he was just asking if I need help at the door, but I was already like
Yeah.
halfway in,
Right.
struggling. And then I was like, I mean, you can come in here and help if you want, but
Yeah.
that's on you, brother.
Can you shake it for me? Because I can't quite. My
Yeah.
foot hurts.
Yeah. That was the other thing. I had no feeling in my toe and I could not wiggle my toe. And just not being able to feel your foot for that long will
Yep.
start to play games on your head. You will start to think this is never coming back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bad. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad your toe's okay, and I'm glad you're back to full health. Hopefully those crutches go away soon. And what's the recovery time on something like that? A couple weeks?
Well, it depends which doctor you ask, because the first guy said he listed me as probable for rec league this week. And then the other doc said I wouldn't put weight on it for a week. And then I wouldn't start like really putting weight on it for 2 weeks, like once you start. And then from there, she did say, she's like, it's on you.
Yeah.
So I'll take that.
Yeah. Not bad.
But as far as gruesome injuries go, I think I had probably the most gruesome injury out of anybody, including the UFC card this weekend. So this weekend, we got Paramount Plus, their first UFC card. And if you watched it, it was a banger. There were so many good fights start to finish, but there was some backlash I saw on Paramount Plus because now that they own the rights, they decided we're going to spam advertisements. So a lot of people were pissed because you couldn't watch the coaches in the corner in between rounds giving advice. Even during some of the walkouts, they were just playing commercials. And UFC fans We love that shit. We loved seeing the walkout. You wanna see the music, you wanna see the guy, you wanna see if he looks confident, all types of things. We're jamming in bets at this point. And then the round around, I mean, what's better than just getting on a sideline and just hearing them talk out the game plan? I mean, if we could get that for every sport, it would be electric. NFL, if you had mic'd up coaches and quarterbacks talking on the sideline, electric. So Paramount got rid of that, and fans were not happy.
Yeah, no, that's the same thing. I thought there was I think it was during the Derek Lewis fight, and my wife's, she's not a huge UFC fan or anything like that, but she'll watch the main cards that I do, and she was watching it, and it was like, wait, they didn't show, my favorite part, like the walkout, like that's like, if you're watching a UFC fight, that's the most electric part of the fight. It's like watching, it's not quite the NFL because the NFL doesn't do it as well, but college football and the teams run out, that's a lot of people's favorite part of the game because it's a lot of times the most exciting part of the game. And they just kind of were playing like ads, and then all of a sudden you're in the ring and the round starts. It's like this is you tune in for the songs, you tune in for the guy coming out. Like I don't know, I'm glad for the main fight, like Patty the Batty. They had him coming out. They had the main fights with the walkouts, so at
Right.
least they didn't fuck it up like completely. But yeah, they need to have the walkouts. The ring, I felt like the broadcast. Maybe I'm wrong here, but like the actual octagon, it felt like it had 5 times as many ads on the canvas.
Mhm.
Like there was advertisements covering the entire thing. So it's all about money now. Like everything else, it's just it's a money game, and hopefully it makes the fighters make a little bit more money. But I have a feeling it won't. But the card in general, like, all the fights were great. We got a ton of great fights. I tuned in right around Thug Rose. It was like the 4th fight of the night. I think that's when I tuned in. So I missed the first one with Silva and Allen, but I tuned in for those last 4. Derek Lewis, it was the fight after that one. I mean, he looks old. That's what I took away from that one. He looks real old. He's one of my favorite fighters just because the post fight interviews and the electric factor that he brings to the sport. But like, yeah, as a I really do bring myself to the sport as a casual. I think you and a lot of our friends in college kind of got me into it. I really started watching in college. And for me, I don't know how the scoring works. Like, I don't know really how any of the show works, but a lot of the fights I'll watch and I really like the energy of it all. And it just feels like you can see a little bit, when a guy's kind of touching the end. And it feels like Derek Lewis might be at that point.
Yeah, I think he's gotta be donezo at this point. I think it's time to pack it up. I even heard I heard him on Hot Ones, and he was just talking about how he doesn't even really, like, train like that. He really is just not hungry. He's just a scrapper. I think that's what people love about him.
Oh, yeah.
Is that personality that he brings, but once you start getting over the hill and you have a bunch of hungry dogs barking, yeah, it's time to get out, and he's got a good enough personality where he can just talk. People just pay to just listen to him talk, whether it be on podcasts or media, but I think he's got a good future out of him, just not fighting. Got put down. And then co-main event, we got Sean O'Malley. He gets a big bounce back win as far as not bounce back, but he's trying to get back into the championship conversations. I think now that Marab is not the champion, O'Malley probably thinks he can actually win it. If Marab stayed champion, he already knows he can't beat him. So O'Malley gets to win. I was all over Song Yadong. I thought it was a robbery. I
It
thought
was.
Song won 2 of the 3 rounds,
Yeah.
but hey, UFC is going to UFC. But then we got the main event, Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, and they picked the perfect matchup for the first card of the year, first Paramount card, because they got 2 guys that they know will always put it on the line.
Brawl.
It was never going to be a snooze.
No.
And they delivered. It was 5 rounds of chaos. Both of them had their rounds that they won, very clearly. Gaethje comes out on top after being a decent size underdog. Good for him, because he said he was gonna retire if he didn't win, and Paddy's gonna be around for a very long time. Like, he'll be back in the championship conversation in a few years, no problem. So, good for Gaethje, and somebody said he's just the most unlucky person because the first time he won the interim champ, he had to basically. If you in UFC, if the champ vacates their belt, then they do an interim championship. They have two guys fight for it. And then when the real champion comes back, you got to fight him. So the first time he won his interim championship, the real champ was Khabib. So he had to fight Khabib, and Khabib mauled him. And now he's got to fight Ilia Topuria, who's probably even better than Khabib. So he's just getting fed to the wolves at this point, but good for him.
Yeah. I'm a scouser. I don't get knocked out. That was true. I mean,
Hell yeah.
it was a lot of times when Patty looked like he was on the ropes and about to be done. But I've watched a lot of TikToks with I'm a scouser and
Scouse.
those whole things. Yeah, I mean the whole fight. Like, tell me a little bit because Gaethje's kind of he's a world class like grappler, right? He's a good wrestler, but
Well,
it felt like, you know, Patty, I took him by submission because it was the lowest odds, and I'm an idiot apparently, but I had him by submission because I thought, you know, hey, he might get him in a spot where he might be able to finish him, but it felt like Patty was trying to stand up the entire time.
I think Patty's the better grappler as far as submissions go, but Gaethje's the better wrestler. So Gaethje
Okay.
was like an all-American college wrestler. Patty is just a true MMA fighter, good everywhere. Yeah, so I think Gaethje better at getting you to the ground, but then when you get Patty on the ground, Patty can submit you from there. He'll throw up triangles from his back, all types of shit. So that's why Gaethje would take him down in that front headlock position and just wear him out right there. And he knows he can hold him there. And yeah, a lot of that's just trying to tire him out. But I mean, did you see Patty's chain at the end of the fight? Dude,
So sick.
Polymarket,
Market.
they gave him like a $300,000 chain to wear. And Patty's been at my gym for the past couple weeks because coming to Vegas, these guys need a place to train. He showed up. He is big as fuck.
I
Like he
bet he
walked
is.
by me. He's taller than me, but
He's
he
like
fights it.
5'11", 5'12", 6 foot.
Yeah, he's got to be like 6 foot or 6'1". I don't know what he's listed at, but I'm 6 foot and I
He was in the
swear he was
fives. He
taller.
was in the fives.
Yeah, bro, I'm 6 foot and I swear he was taller than me.
Yeah.
He's lanky.
I was telling my wife, like, hey, this guy, like, part of Patty's thing is his personality and like his presence, and he always talks about how he gets fat after his fights and he just,
Yeah.
you know, eats and whatever. But watching him, like, he was shredded, you know, like he's got fight shape and he looks juiced up. So maybe he needs to go back and eat a little bit more for this next one, get a little bit pudgier before
Beef
he
up.
fights again. Yeah, yeah. He's a scouser though. I've watched, I can't tell you how
Scouser.
many TikToks I've watched where it's just I'm a scouser, I don't get knocked out. And every time he was about to get knocked out, I was like, nah, he's a scouser.
Did you hear that one where he was like, "Oh yeah, he's a fucking helmet, an absolute helmet." They were like, "What's a helmet mean?" He's like, It's the tip of your penis, mate." Yeah,
Personality.
Patty's personality is good, and yeah, he'll be around for a long time. But huge ups to the UFC. That was a great starting card, and I think a lot more people are able to watch it now, legally at
Yep.
least,
Yep.
because it's no longer pay-per-view. So the UFC officially back for now.
Yep. $6.99. Paramount. Peacock? No, it was Peacock. Yeah, Peacock sponsor us.
Paramount.
Paramount. Yeah, Paramount. Whatever. One of them sponsor us.
It starts with a P, same. Well, Joe, I think it's time to dive into NFL recap. We got conference championship weekend this past week, today actually. And let's start off with Patriots. They traveled to Denver to take on the Broncos. Broncos starting Stidham, backup quarterback. And fun enough, Stidham lost his job at Auburn to Bo Nix and now is replacing Bo Nix in the AFC Conference Championship. And this game was anything but electric. This game had no firepower. Second half, though, was very fun. Watching the boys roll around in the snow, it's just, there's nothing better than some football this late in the year, and you can't even see the numbers. Although I will say the NFL this year, they lit the fucking field up on the graphics. They had
Mhm.
the outlines of all the numbers, everything. It looked awesome. So good on them. But the Patriots win this game 10-7. Their only touchdown came because they should have got a defensive touchdown, but they got gifted the ball at the 20-yard line in the red zone, and they take advantage. And that really was the game right there. There was not a lot of scoring in the second half.
No, yeah, in this game it was crazy because it flipped. You know, basically at halftime, a little after halftime, where it was a clear sunny day in Denver, and then that crazy storm that's gripping the nation right now a bunch of power outage and shit in the South. It seemed to hit Denver, and all of a sudden it was just a snowball. And we had two back-to-back missed kicks to end the half, which was just hilarious to watch. Like it was just a nuts game, and you get to that second half, and it was like, okay, they're talking about the wind and like which direction you're going on the field. Is that going to matter more than the actual gameplay, basically? And they flipped it in the fourth quarter, and it was okay, now the Broncos are going with the wind, so they're probably going to win this game. But Stidham just, he didn't quite have enough juice. He played really well that first drive, and it was like, okay, here we go. The Broncos, like kind of everything we were talking about, like Bo Nix isn't that big of a deal. The Broncos will be fine. Stidham will be fine. And then it kind of flipped where it was like, yeah, maybe Bo Nix is better than we thought. Maybe the Broncos offense isn't as good without him. And I think that really came down to quarterback play. I know the environment and the weather was bad, but it felt like the Broncos had a chance. Like they had the ball so many times at like the 40, 45-yard line going, into the Patriots territory. And it was like, just run the ball, make 2-3 passes. You get down there, you have Sutton. Like, I don't know. It felt like the Broncos should have won this game because the Patriots didn't look great. This just made me so much more confident going in the Super Bowl that the Seahawks and Rams, whoever won that game, was going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, NFC big favorites to win the Super Bowl. Even going into this, I think we looked at it last week. They were like minus 230 for the NFC. Yeah, I think the AFC compared to the NFC, the entire playoffs, in my opinion, has been a much better product. And now somebody's got to win. So the Patriots advance. Drake May already in a Super Bowl. This makes, I think they said Patriots and Chiefs have made up like 9 of the last 10 AFC representatives, something stupid. The Bengals had that one year. And I don't know. Are you bought in on Drake May? Because right now on Twitter, there's a lot of discourse about him basically being the bottom of the barrel in terms of playoff statistics to get to a Super Bowl. He's being compared right now to guys like Trent Dilfer, where basically your defense has gotten you here and you didn't have to do too much. He didn't look good today. He
No.
had some great runs, and I think that's the part. It's when things are not going well. He is one of those guys like a Josh Allen that can, even a Mahomes, like he'll just eventually make his own magic.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second leading rusher right behind Stevenson today. 65 yards rushing, 10 carries. So I don't know. I bet on him the last 2 weeks to have over rushing yards, and he did not come through. And then of course I didn't touch it today, and he does. So I don't know. This game was gross. I don't know how much to attribute it to the weather. Like it felt like the weather was a big factor, but it didn't feel like either one of these quarterbacks was dominant. Obviously, Stidham's coming in backup role. Like can't really put too much weight on that, but I don't know. It just feels like they don't have a chance. Like I saw the opening line. We'll talk about it for the Super Bowl, but I saw the opening line. It sits at like 3.5. Like that,
Yeah.
the Seahawks look unstoppable. I can't see this team winning, but they've kind of come, the full season going like this. It feels like every game they're in is kind of a close game, nail biter. Vrabel's a leader of men, a freaking, a general out there. So it's hard to put him out, but at the same time, it just feels like, I don't know, they're not the same caliber as some of these teams in the NFC.
Yeah, only time will tell. Only time will tell. And it's the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. It's one game. But the Patriots, they do make it back to the most spoiled fan base that I can think of. It's basically Patriots or Chiefs. So they get that done. And I'm happy for Drake May overall
Yep.
because
Yep.
seems like a good dude. I enjoy the way he plays. I enjoy Vrabel. Vrabel, one of the
100%.
best coaches, guy that you would love to play for. And they did get gifted this. And like you said, we thought that Bo Nix wasn't a big enough factor. And I still think we're right about that because they did not cover the spread. The line even closed at 3.5, started at 5.5 earlier in the week, closed 3.5. They didn't even cover that. So I do think that the Bo Nix thing, I think we hit that one on.
Yep. I would rather see, the Bills and Josh Allen in the Super Bowl, but out of Broncos Patriots, I'm glad it's the Patriots versus Sean Payton. I'd rather see Vrabel and all that this week, next 2 weeks in the media than watching Sean Payton.
Yeah. And also a Broncos Super Bowl with Stidham,
Right.
doesn't really do it for me.
Nope. Yep. The Drake May storyline's way better, and the like comparisons to Brady. Year two Super Bowl, Brady made it to the Super Bowl year two. Like the
Yeah.
prophecy is pretty fun to talk about. So if he gets it done, then the dynasty starts again. And I did see something too that Brady's legacy started in a snow game in year two in the divisional round. So it's like division championship. It becomes it becomes the same storyline. So if he does it, if Drake May does it, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. But I got the Hawks, baby.
And I saw a stat. The Patriots were 80-1 going into the season to win the Super Bowl. There have been, in the last 50 years, there have been three other teams that were 80-1 or higher going into the season that made the Super Bowl. We have the 2021 Bengals, who lost. We have the 2016 Falcons, lost. Probably should have won that one. And then we have the 1999 Rams, the greatest show on turf, and they did win their Super Bowl. So interesting to see. But I'm also leaning Seahawks with you because they look pretty dominant. And we can dive into that game right now. So Seahawks win this game 31-27 in Seattle versus the Los Angeles Rams. And these are two teams that knew each other really well going into the game. Seahawks, though, they came out and looked awesome from the very get-go. And the Rams, it took them a little longer to get going. And that might have been what costed them ultimately. But yeah, that Seahawks defense, they're just all over the place. And then the offense, they have good weapons. I thought Kenneth Walker looked amazing tonight. In absence of Charbonnet, he carried the torch. And then the big play of the game, I would say, would be Tariq Woolen gets a stop on fourth down later in the game, the second half of the game, and it's 4th and 12. Seahawks are going to get the ball back, and they're already up more than one score. And all of a sudden, he just has to go to the sideline and start talking shit to the whole sideline. And they penalize him real late. Excessive taunting, automatic first down, very next touchdown, very next play, touchdown for the Rams. It felt like that play just flipped the whole game. And honestly, it's what made it a great game, probably. It made it very close. But if that play doesn't happen, there's a world where Seahawks win this game by double digits.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And I thought Sam Darnold played, really great. He's had a resurgence in his career, kind of like a Baker Mayfield, where he got a second, third chance at a career here, and boy, does Minnesota look fucking stupid right now. I just can't. We talked about it last week, but I just can't understand it. He's good enough to win these games. He's got a great defense to back him up. He seems like he's focused. Every question they asked him, it was like, "Hey, how do you feel? It's taken a lot to get here." And he basically would just say, like, "Taking it one day at a time. I'm Sam Darnold, number 3 overall pick." So I don't know. I like the Seahawks here. I thought the Rams would get this done. I had the Rams as my Super Bowl winner, but it feels like they had some holes, and the holes were not on offense. Their offense is awesome. Their holes are on defense. Their holes are on special teams. And that showed through tonight because the Seahawks, they're complete. Like they have every facet of the game. Their defense is elite. Their offense, when Sam Darnold plays well, is elite. And they make plays when they need to make plays. So I don't know. The 12th man was rocking tonight. The Seahawks look great. I'm fully in on the Seahawks to win this Super Bowl. And I just don't see how there's any part of their game that falls apart. Even if their offense falls apart, their defense is there for them. We kind of saw that they were dangerous, and there was times when it was like, wow, they're blowing teams out by 40 in the middle of the season, and they might bring it home because there's not really a weakness that I can find in their team.
No, it's built top to bottom. I actually just saw a stat that their GM is the first GM to ever make it to 2 Super Bowls. And in those 2 Super Bowls, having a different head coach, same franchise, different head coach, and 0 players from the last Super Bowl team.
Wow.
So he basically did it with the Legion of Boom and Russ. And then that entire era just left. and he's recreated it from scratch. We also are now getting some fun freezing cold takes. So Mina Kimes, when Seahawks got rid of Geno Smith, she said flat out, "This is a terrible move by Seattle. The chances of upgrading are extremely low." So I don't think Geno would have them in the Super Bowl right now,
Yeah.
even with this great defense. And last stat I want to bring up, you're a college football guy. Give me some schools that you think of when you think of QBU. Where are we producing quarterbacks? What colleges?
Oklahoma sticks out to me. They've had a good amount. Yeah.
Sure.
USC obviously has had their fair share, and
Yep.
then 3 after that.
Just give me one more.
Maybe give me a Bama. I know Bama's got, their fair share of kind of busts or whatever, but they've had a
Yeah.
lot of guys come through too,
Good. That's a good top three, Joe. And the second one you said is USC. Growing up, USC, if I was a quarterback, that's where I would have gone.
for sure.
And Sam Darnold becomes the first ever USC quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, barring
Wow.
injury, as long as he does start. But he will be the first USC Trojan to be a starting quarterback in a Super Bowl. That blows my mind.
That's insane.
That's insane because they're always going to get a top five quarterback in the nation every year, it seems like. And yeah, and all these guys go on to the NFL, guy after guy after guy. And he comes back, and it's awesome to see for me because he was on bust watch. He was
Yeah.
already actually screw bust watch.
Yeah,
He
he was a
was a
bust.
bust.
Right.
Yeah. He was seeing ghosts. He had mono, and he was a starting quarterback for the Jets. Doesn't get much worse than that. And I bought in when he went to the Niners, and Shanahan was like, "Hey, I know he's our backup, but this guy's fucking elite. There's a reason why I brought him in." And he's like, "I'm seeing it in practice every day." And I bought in at that moment, do some dynasty football. I bought some stock in him. And hey, look at the guy now. Couldn't be happier for him. Feels like he got the monkey off his back, regardless of how this Super Bowl goes.
Yep. Yeah, there was the one thing I was gonna say is the tweet at the beginning of the NFL season. They always put out a graphic with like all the guys, all the big players from each team. And it was in September, I think they put this out. And Sam Darnold and Drake May were at the very front, closest to
Oh,
the Super Bowl trophy. So
yeah.
I don't know, the script writers, the NFL's rigged crowd is loud after
Yeah.
that one. So they had that one there, and I saw that picture, and yeah, hard to refute. Hard.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure after the second to last season of Game of Thrones, was that season 7, maybe? I think the NFL stole those writers. So Game of Thrones had to write the finale without those guys, but the NFL took them, and it's worked out. It's worked out very well. But now that we know who's in the Super Bowl. Oh, also I saw Devontae Adams now has the worst conference championship record of any player ever. He's 0-5. He can get there, he just can't get to the Super Bowl.
Can't
So
win the big one.
terrible for him. Meanwhile, Cooper Cup gets revenge on the
Yep.
Rams, and now Cooper
Touchdown tonight
Cup's
too.
yeah, going to a second Super Bowl. Very cool. But now that we know the matchup is set, you said you lean Seattle, of course, and you like that spread, right? You think it would be a blowout?
No, I don't know about blowout. I think it has blowout potential. No doubt about
Yeah.
it has blowout potential. But when I thought about the line, I was like, okay, I think it'll be Seahawks 4.5. I thought it'd be minus 4.5. And the lines that I've been seeing are 3.5. I think it jumps. I think it'll jump to 4.5 by the end of the week.
I think it's at,
And
I think I
next
think
week.
it did. I think it
Okay,
while we
yeah.
were doing the pod, I think it's at 4.5 now.
Yeah, well, I'm basically the sharpest guy out there. I just it feels kind of low. I know it's a Super Bowl. It's hard to price a game past 4.5 for a Super Bowl, but I'm gonna be all over the Hawks, and I will lose any money that I win on Hawks 4.5 on props because we'll get into it. I think that'd be a fun part of the show. Maybe next week after we just
Yeah.
do a props bet. But yeah, I'm gonna hammer so many Super Bowl props because that's the best. That's the best time of the year.
I'm looking at touchdown scores right now. So far, there's only one player that is not plus money to score anytime, and that would be any guess? Any guess on what player?
Not plus money.
He's the only one. He's minus 190 to score a touchdown.
I'm gonna go with Kenneth Walker.
Bang!
Yeah,
Joey
yeah,
Sharps.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me a Drake May touchdown. The guy runs. The guy scores tutties. You know, I've said this before, and we were talking in the group chat, but my favorite bet in the NFL, and it's rain consistent. I haven't hit too many of them, but you hit one out of 5 weeks and you're good. It's first touchdown, and then you parlay that with 2+ touchdowns in the game. Because if they score early, right, usually the first touchdown happens early. You do that, and then you do a 2+, and it usually works out. Josh Allen is the king. Josh Allen has won me that bet so many times because he'll score first and then he scores later in the game. But I think this Super Bowl has a good chance with that. So if you don't like the -190 for Walker, you could get him at first touchdown, and then 2+, because that's probably going to happen. I think he probably scores twice. JSN, probably a good option for that as well. Drake May, another one. So yeah, I'm going to be looking at so many props. I will be betting Gatorade color. I will be betting national anthem length, all the classic ones. We went to Westgate at a time when maybe we shouldn't have, but we did it, and we went and we did it. We did the props, and the props are good. They're always fun. It's one of my favorite betting times of the year is the Super Bowl, because they just come out with ridiculous lines.
And we'll both have at least five that we'll present on the show as our favorite miscellaneous prop bets of the week. So that'll be fun for us. And if you're looking for Kenneth Walker first touchdown plus 380, two
Oh,
plus
that's
touchdowns,
yes.
two plus touchdowns is plus 290.
I don't think I'm going to touch that one. That's a ripoff. That's
That's what
not
I'm
good.
saying.
Usually you get those at like a plus 1,000 and 1,000, so you're sitting at like 4,000 for the parlay. That's gross.
Anybody else in this game you
Yeah.
can do that for, but they are protecting Kenneth Walker. I heard somebody today, they said they want to take George Halani, his backup, to win MVP of the game. So yeah, somebody threw that out there today at work. So we'll see. But me and you, we're going to cook this week. And then next week's episode, we'll have a bunch of fun bets for everybody to hop on.
Yep.
Well, Joe, if you got nothing left for the NFL, I think we end the show with our college basketball season preview. It's going to be good. It's getting started here soon. As soon as the Super Bowl's over, it's college basketball season. And I cannot wait for March Madness, my favorite time of the year.
Yep. No, I'm the same way. I become a basketball sharp. I've watched approximately 20 minutes of college basketball this year. And by that, I mean all the games, and I'm an expert. But I stay tuned in on mostly highlights and social media. But basically what that means is that I look at Ken Palm all the time. So I thought for this one, for our preview, at least for me, I basically trust Ken Palm with my life. And those rankings are pretty good. Anytime I'm looking at betting, I basically just trust Ken Palm. So the only thing I've got out of this one, we'll go through maybe the top 10, something like that. But Nebraska basketball, Nebraska ball is the only team in the country, for those that don't know, who have never won a NCAA tournament game. They're the only Power 4, Power 5 conference team that has never won an NCAA March Madness basketball game. And I think this year might be the year that changes. So I'm excited for that. It was Ty Lue was the last coach who took Nebraska to a tournament game, and I think he was a player at that time. But they were a 5 seed. I want to say they were a 5 seed and they lost. So yeah, that's my favorite storyline thus far in the season. Obviously, we've got the history. I've never seen him in the tournament since we got to school there. I think it was 2015 when I was there. They have not been to the tournament since then.
Yeah, they made it with Anthony Bennett the year before I got there.
Yeah,
Anthony Bennett,
2013, I think.
known as the biggest NBA bust of all time.
Yeah, so it hasn't been great for the Rebels. So we don't have a ton of individual pride in terms of college basketball. But Nebraska ball is what's carrying me this year. So yeah, that's the one thing I've been paying attention to. Gonzaga's like an hour and a half from where I grew up in Spokane, Washington. So they're always fun. They were kind of a rival to Washington State back in the Tony Bennett era. But I got a buddy whose brother's a athletic trainer for them, so I always pay attention to Gonzaga. Yeah, it's been a fun season. Michigan's unreal. Arizona's unreal down in Tucson, just close
Yeah.
for me. So, obviously got Michigan State, Houston, Illinois, Iowa State. The kind of the blue bloods. It seems like college basketball is a little different than college football. The big dogs stay at the top, but you get some of those outsiders like Nebraska is that this year. They're the Indiana of college basketball this year, if you will. So I don't know. What are your thoughts? You're dialed a little bit more in than I am.
Well, I think for that, on that take about college football and college basketball, I think it's so much easier to just have a starting five, just five guys that are better than everybody else. Whereas in college football, you're building a very big roster and you have to pay everybody at this point, and it's really hard to build it. So many variables. But so far, college basketball this year, Michigan, I think, has been the best team by far. Like metrics wise, they're disgusting. And there's a chance they just run away with this tournament, kind of like we saw with UConn those back to back years. I feel like Michigan has built something similar to that. I'm really pissed that we're just now doing the preview because I was very big on Arizona going into this season. I really like their 5-star freshman, Ko Pete. Granted, I bet on Arizona to win the Natty basically every year. But this year, when I was looking at it, they were like 16-1 at one point, and now they're undefeated, number one ranked team in the nation by the AP poll. Still second in the betting odds, though. So we have Michigan at plus 450. We have Arizona at plus 500. And then we get Duke, Houston, and UConn all sitting around plus 1,000. So do feel like Michigan is just so dominant. But we get March Madness every year and fucking anything can happen. And that is why it is the best. It is the absolute best. So a lot of shit can change. And there's no way, unless it's one of those UConn teams, there's no way that I would ever bet on a college champion under like 9-1. It just feels like robbery because I know the gauntlet you have to go through eventually
Yeah.
to get there. So I'll always look for the long odds in college basketball. And I don't know if you saw, but yesterday for college basketball, this past Saturday, we had 3 different freshmen go over 40 points. Three
That's
separate
crazy.
teams. Insane. And the last one to do it was the number one high school recruit in the nation, AJ Dibanasta, I believe is how you say the last name, for BYU.
Yep.
Absolutely filthy. Could
Dog.
be the number one pick overall. But if you haven't seen, Kansas has a kid, Darren Peterson. He is maybe the best college basketball player I have seen. I don't know where to put a cap on it in years, in years. And he hasn't played that much this year because he got hurt early in the season. There was a bunch of rave about him, but you will know this kid's name by March. And the other night, he played a game where he only played like 20 minutes and he had like 35 points. They don't even play him that much, but when he's on the floor, he does not miss. So watch the fuck out for this kid on Kansas. They might get hot just by having him.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I'm excited to dive into it. Once football ends, that's kind of my next sport I pick up. We get March Madness obviously in March, so I'm excited for that. I think BYU was coming in, early season favorites just because of the one guy. So it's kind of shaking out a little different than people thought. But Arizona and Nebraska, the last two undefeated teams in the country, didn't think I'd ever say that with Nebraska, but yeah, it's been a fun season so far, and I can't wait to actually dive in and become an expert. I'll start watching some highlights. I'm gonna pick those up now.
Yeah, we'll definitely start talking about college basketball more. If you followed Mojo before we started the pod, we usually would do college football and then dive into college basketball after that. Full send. And we had really good college basketball betting records. I mean,
Yeah.
using Ken Palm, there's another site, I think it's called Evan Maya. Really good shit on there. So we'll get the models cooking for college basketball. I'm excited for that. I do have a question for you, Joe. At what point will Nebraska admit that they're a volleyball school?
Oh yeah, it's. I think I might have told the story before, but when we were in grad school at Nebraska, I went to um a game. So we went to a volleyball game, and my wife was a big, she played volleyball in high school. She was really good. And the Nebraska volleyball tickets are harder to get than Nebraska football, Nebraska basketball. Like they are insane. So we went to a game and they were playing Oregon and it was sold out. And I think it paid $100 and we could touch the ceiling basically when we went to this game because we were so high up. But like the fans are in it. They all have these chants. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's in the chants at the same time. The crowd's locked in. There's not a whole lot to do out there. There's a lot of retirees and old folks in Nebraska, and they just eat it up. So yeah, it's definitely a volleyball school, but it might be a basketball school now because they're rocking. They're rocking 20-0, baby, 20-0.
20 and out. That's crazy. That is insane to me. It's
Insane.
also insane though that they've never won a tournament game. That is
Yeah,
also, I think
the
that's
only
a
one.
more shocking stat just
Yep.
because it's Nebraska and you would think with their clout in other sports that at some point they'd be able to turn the corner. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not even going to say it.
No.
I don't know. Maybe they were racist for a little too long. Who knows?
Yeah, this is the year. Then the Big Ten too. It's not like they're in some cushy conference. Like the Big Ten's one of the best basketball schools. So it's they've had to play a bunch of good teams. So the fact they're 20-0 and sitting there is pretty exciting. So they're gonna at least be in the tournament and they're gonna have a chance to change that stat. I know everybody likes to throw it out. I guarantee it. When the tournament starts and Nebraska's playing their first game, you're going to hear that stat about 1,000 times where it's like, oh, they've never won a tournament game. They never won a tournament game. So they need to get that monkey off their back. And they're 12-0, though. 12-0 at home, 5-0 away, 9-0 in the Big Ten. So we'll see. I think they play Michigan coming up here. They play Michigan on Wednesday, Tuesday, something like that on the 27th. So that should be fun. They go Michigan, Illinois, Rutgers, Purdue. So quite a stretch for Nebraska ball coming up. If they come out of that, 3-1, maybe
Then you start
we might be
believing.
looking at a natty. We might be looking at a natty future for Nebraska. I do it every year for football. Why the fuck not for basketball?
Yeah. The only problem is you're waiting until the secret's out. You're like, all right, now that they're 25-0, now I'm gonna shoot.
They're probably still like 1,000-1 just because they've never even won a tournament game. So it's like, well, even if they get a
That's
one
true.
seed, it might be a 116 upset.
Yeah. The public's just hammering the 16 seed money line for the first time ever.
St. Petersburg, Florida is just going to dominate them.
35-1 right now, plus
Okay,
3,500. Yeah.
that's good. I like that. I might sprinkle some.
Vanderbilt's another one. Vanderbilt's been a sneaky good team this year. I don't know if you knew about that, but
Nope.
they are also 35-1 to win the Natty. And yeah, who knows? Vanderbilt might just turn into a powerhouse for sports at this point. Baseball's already sick.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now you just throw in basketball and football and you're rolling just like the other SEC schools. I do have a question though. As a college basketball fan, I have a conference that I think is my favorite to watch. Do you have a favorite conference?
Yeah, it's definitely not the Big Ten, I'll tell you that.
No.
It's fucking terrible. I think it's got to be the Big 12. Especially you add Houston in there. The Big 12 for me. It used to be the Pac-12. I was a
Mm,
Pac-10, I guess, just
yeah.
because I grew up watching it. I was a ball boy in the Pac-10 when I was a little kid, so I saw the likes of Kevin Love, Darren Collison, Klay Thompson, all those guys in the Pac-10. Like that was it for me, and it was sick. It's kind of like football. Like, the West Coast used to kind of run sports a little bit, but I think the Big 12 is way more fun now because you get Arizona there, you get Houston, you get Baylor, you get some of these fast-paced kind of college basketball teams where it's more what college basketball is about for me. I think it's the same thing with college football a little bit for me. You get the chaos a little bit more.
Mhm.
Obviously, the ACC is fun too, but the ACC is kind of boring to me. I don't know. I feel like they're the Big Ten of college basketball, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Where it's defense and they kind of play like a slower game. The Big 12 is all about scoring. Houston maybe is the exception, but high scoring, high octane offenses, fun guys, bunch of good coaches, good storylines. So I'm a Big 12 guy for basketball.
Yeah, I wanna hit on something. If you've ever seen Joe play basketball, you'll think you're watching Klay Thompson, but, like, in slow motion, I would
Yeah,
say, and,
and
like,
make like
7
one a 10.
inches shorter, but you shoot exactly like Klay Thompson, the form, spitting image, and that comes from his days as a ball boy. But what I was gonna say is I really like the ACC. I've always been a big ACC basketball guy. They play it the right way, and you got a lot of
Yeah.
talent in there, a lot of good coaches. But with conference realignment, I think the Big 12 has taken over my top spot. And I remember the outrage for football because everybody was pissed. They were losing Oklahoma, Texas. And then when we took a step back, we looked at it further. We go, wait, this might be a beast of a
Say,
conference for basketball. Because you add in Arizona, you add in Houston. Houston is just soft spot in my heart. I love, even though they're just, you would think they're not fun to watch. They're so fun to watch. I
so
love
fun.
betting on them every year because they just drown teams and they finally turned the corner. They, in the past year, 2 years, they're getting scores now. They figured out, they're like, we can get to the Elite Eight every year doing what we do defensively. We just need, when it gets to crunch time and it's tight late in the tournament, we need someone that can just score at will, and I think that they've found some of those guys, so don't ever count Houston out.
Yeah, and you get Kansas in there. Iowa State's always nasty. Like the Big 12 is it. And obviously, I think I would put the Big East over like the Big 10. I mean,
Mm,
not from a winning standpoint, but the Big East is just a fun conference. You get kind
that's
of
a great conference.
the mobsters, you get some of these small schools that don't get a lot of love in any other sport. We got
Patino, Madison Square Garden, just, like,
yeah,
wearing a white suit with a
yep,
red tie, just
yep.
total Italian mob boss.
Yep. Yeah. No, you get St. John's, you get Creighton out of Omaha, which I never knew Creighton was in Omaha until I
Mm.
lived in Nebraska, and then I was like, holy shit, Creighton's in Omaha. But they've got the Big East is a fun conference to me. I like the ACC too. You get the eighth. The college basketball is just so much better because the breadth of teams and the breadth of conferences is so much more. And then we get the conference and it's 64 teams. Like you just get so many more random ass storylines, random guys that come out of nowhere, get their moment in the sun. It's the best. I think March Madness is still the best sporting event out of anything. I don't know how anybody will ever top it. It doesn't get better than that. My boss at work, he likes March Madness, so I'm pumped for that because those couple days in March, I'm not going to be working. I'm just going to stream the game. So I'll probably have three
Oh, yeah.
screens at work. It's just bang, bang, bang. So yeah,
Least productive month of the year.
yeah. People say, when you get older, we're not at that point yet, but when older men get vasectomies, they're at that point in their life. That's the best time. You do it in March because then you can just sit on the couch. You get 3 days. You ice the nutsack and you just watch ball.
I did this as a 16-year-old,
You got a
except for instead
vasectomy?
of instead of my balls, I did it with my wisdom teeth. But
Yeah,
I
nice,
planned it for the day before March Madness started.
nice.
So then on that Thursday, the kickoff, I was on
Chilling.
painkillers and eating ice cream, just watching all the games. And it was the best. Yeah, I love college basketball. As you can tell from us, we're not big SEC basketball guys. That's
No,
the one
fuck 'em.
conference we didn't
Fuck
touch
'em.
on.
Yep.
And then I got some big college basketball heads at my work, and a couple of them said they think this is the draft class that can rival LeBron's class. They think there is a possibility this goes down as the best rookie class of all time. And Cooper Flag technically should be in this class. So if you
Mm,
add him in there also, it would be ridiculous. But yeah, very exciting for college basketball in general.
love it. Yeah, I'm excited to
Well,
get into it.
that is going to do it for this week's episode of MoJoe Sports. As you can see, we're diving into a lot of different stuff nowadays, and I think it's a lot of fun. So we're going to keep this ball rolling next week with a Super Bowl preview, and we'll catch you up on all the biggest things that happened in sports throughout the week. But Willy Mo taking off?
Yeah, hope your toe gets better, man. Thanks for
Probably
listening.
not.
Like and subscribe. Go give that guy a review. I don't know what hospital he's at. I don't know the doctor's name, but he's pretty shitty. So leave us a review, like and subscribe, and leave that doctor a review 1 star. Give us 5, give him 1. So
Yeah,
thanks.
I'll
Adios.
put his link and name in the comments, and then you guys just light him up.
Change.org. We're gonna sign the petition.
Yeah.
Adios.